Good question. What has been the biggest challenge in the engineering process throughout the years?
Change.
Or sorry, the biggest change in the engineering process throughout the years. How have your processes developed? Um, it's changed a lot. Our engineering processes have completely changed over the last 5 years, certainly over the last 10 years.
Last 20.
Pretty much going back to 10 years ago and older. All the company's engineering was done by Nate and I. We sat in the same office, and we would just do engineering in between all the other work that we were doing all
Right.
day long, like dealing with customers. And at one point, I was scheduling all of our service department myself. I was answering all of our contact emails, which was like a couple hundred emails a day, and we were doing engineering in
And
between all
purchasing
that.
and
Yeah.
yep.
And we developed a lot of great products. In fact, a lot of those products we still sell.
Yep.
Many of those products we still sell. However, um, our engineering effort lacked a lot of structure, and so it was kind of like Nate and I knew about stuff, and if something happened with a product a couple years down the line, there was no documentation, there was nothing to go back and look at. We had no really quality control checks other than what we could do ourselves. Um, and starting about 10 years ago, we finally brought in um, a hardware engineer, someone whose whole job all day long was just to engineer and develop new products, kind of to assist Nate and I, is how it started. And I would say within a few years of that, Nate and I kind of pulled out of completely the day-to-day engineering process efforts, more on like a management and oversight of the team doing it. We added a second engineer a year or two later. Now we have a whole team of hardware and software engineers um, that Nate manages the software team, and I kind of oversee the hardware engineering team um, under the management of a department manager and another engineering lead in that department. So I still keep my fingers very close to the pulse of our software and hardware engineering, but we have great people that can actually do engineering better than I can, um, especially when it comes to like CAD design and engineering and things like that. But I have the deep understanding and knowledge of what our engineering effort should be and what our product should be like. But how it's really changed, in addition to having other people do the engineering who are qualified, um, and in most cases, degreed engineers, is we've added a lot of structure, process, documentation. So we have a project management system that all of our engineering on the hardware and software side is done in this system. Every step of the development process is documented, and so it's kind of like a set of dominoes, where once a product concept is created, it initiates the process, which takes the whole team and the department through all the necessary steps that we've documented and designed over the years to ensure that a product goes from concept to production to delivery, and that none of the important steps along the way are lost. In addition, every product we engineer eventually has to be put on the website, sold through our website. It has to be inventoried in our warehouse. It has to be sourced and manufactured. It has to be quality control checked. Um, and we even go so far to create selling points and documentation for our dealers who resell these products. So there's just a myriad of tasks that come with creating, developing, producing, and selling a new product. There's literally many thousands of steps that we have a documented process that we go through. And we're constantly adding to this process. Pretty much every week we do have a meeting here in this room every week, where everyone, the key players from engineering, from marketing, from the website, from operations, we all meet to push these new products through the development process into the final like sale and merchandising of these products. And every week we're adding something to our processes to account for a little mistake or an issue that arises. So um, definitely the biggest change, is the formulation of this very rigid and thorough engineering process and product development process and operations process that takes, again, the products from concept to your front door, or your eager little fingers, and your cars that seek these parts out. So yeah, it's been an amazing learning process for us, and I think we've innovated a lot of engineering processes and procedures over the years that are, I would say, not common practice in this industry in particular, and drawn from other industries. We're in Silicon Valley, so we have access to some world-class companies who have very good engineering and product development processes. On the software side, the software development is also very regimented and documented, and has to follow a very specific process.
Yep.
So, anyways, yeah,
and I mean, I'll touch on a little more like the under the hood stuff, the process and whatnot. The processes and the procedures certainly were pretty much a paradigm change in how the department ran. But at like an engineering level and just the doing the dirty work, just the evolution in tool sets over the last 20 years, both on the CAD side, we went from calipers to touch probe measurements for CMM coordinate measurement stuff to now we full color scanning of stuff. It's pretty insane the amount of reverse engineering on the hardware side that you can quickly get through now. And it's a common thing. There's consumer level things that we couldn't have dreamed of, when we started.
Didn't exist.
It didn't exist. The technology didn't exist. Anything that was available was just, stratus. Yeah, it was unobtainable. And it's on the software side too. The amount of tools and resources and just evolution that's gone on from code development to reverse engineering. All of it is, it would have killed for it 20 years ago to have any kind of this access to power and tools that we have now. So.
Yeah. And you didn't mention 3D printing.
And then rapid prototyping stuff. Yep. Those didn't exist when we started. And then we were on pretty early back in the day with a Stratasys system. You're buying a $30,000 refrigerator that lives in your office.
I think it was like 55.
Whatever it was. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you get your support removal tooling and all that. But
that's worse than a 3D.
And now you can buy a $100 3D printer that'll just run circles around it, speed and quality. Won't do ABS as well as that thing did. That thing cranked out ABS, but still, it's just Again, this unobtainable becomes a consumer commodity item. So
great question. Whoever asked, thank you.